Hey, fifth graders. Hopefully this will be okay. I have another computer that's running the Google Meet. So if any of you guys pop in, this might be weird. Um, we're going to talk lesson 10.4 for math, obviously. Again, to reiterate, if you didn't see it in lesson 10.3, I made a mistake. There's 2 cups for every pint. I think I said 4, but it goes 2 cups for every pint, 2 pints for every quart, 4 quarts for every gallon. It's just, and 8 fluid ounces per cup. So it's just kind of a crazy thing. So anyway, yeah. Also, enjoy the beige bedroom with the laundry on the bed that needs to be folded. Sorry. Lesson 10.4. Let's get to that. So basically, this is just using the information that you guys already have to now solve problems that sometimes take more than one step. So it's not just convert cups into fluid ounces or cups into pints or pints into gallons or anything like that. Now you're going to be taking it and applying it to just different situations where you might have to jump through a couple of hoops to get there. So let's take a look at the problem on page 603, which is the example problem, and it's Jared has a faucet. So it's a leaky faucet in Jared's house, drips 2 cups of water each day. After 2 weeks of dripping, the faucet is fixed. If it drips the same amount each day, how many quarts of water dripped from Jared's leaky faucet in 2 weeks? Okay, so first of all, I kind of summarized the problem here. So we've got Jared's faucet drips 2 cups of water each day. After 2 weeks, how many quarts has it dripped? All right. So one of the things we have to look at, first of all, of course, is how much water total did it drip? Since it's already in cups, let's just leave it in cups, okay? So it goes each day for 2 weeks. Well, 1 week has 7 days in it, so it goes 2 weeks, that's 14 days. So we've got 2 cups every day for 14 days. So we're going to go 2 times 14, which is 28 cups. Okay, so that's where we're at. All right, now, of course, that's the total amount of cups that it dripped, but how many quarts did it drip? So the first step here, well, it kind of depends on how you want to do it. So obviously you can convert your cups into pints and then your pints into quarts. That's fine. But we could also skip that middle step, right? Because it takes 2 cups to make a pint and 2 pints to make a quart. That means that it takes 4 cups to make a quart, right? So we could just jump a step, but we won't do that this time. All right, so we have 28 cups is equal to how many pints? All right, that's where we're at. Now, since we are taking a little thing and we're pouring it into a bigger container, right? Pints are bigger than cups, so we're going to divide. So this is going to be 28 divided by 2. So that's going to be 14 pints. Okay? And then you have 14 pints is equal to how many quarts? And here we have 14. And again, we're pouring it into a bigger thing. Quarts are bigger than pints, so we're going to go 14 divided by 2, which is going to be 7 quarts. Now notice, if I had wanted to, I could have really just said 28 divided by 4 gives me 7, and that still would have gotten me the same place, right? Okay, but our answer is going to be 7 quarts. That's how much water drips in 2 weeks. Okay, hopefully that kind of makes sense. I'll give you a couple more examples here. Okay, so on the next page, we have an example that involves eggs. Hopefully you can find them at the supermarket, right? So now for a lot of these questions, one of the things that you have to realize is that this is a simplified question. So don't try to make the problem harder than it is. Don't assume information that's not there. So this is talking about a carton of 1 dozen eggs, right? Now, you probably realize, of course, that if you pick up a carton of eggs, the weight there is not just the eggs, right? It's also the carton itself weighs something. Someday maybe you will have to do that, but in our case, we're just completely ignoring the carton. We're basically saying that, okay, the eggs weigh this amount, and then figure out how many ounces. So here we have a carton of 1 dozen eggs. right? And it weighs 1.5 pounds, so 1.5 pounds. And we want to know how many ounces does each egg weigh? So now, obviously, you have to know that a dozen is 12. So there's 12 eggs that weigh 1.5 pounds total. And how many ounces is that? Now, if I just gave you the, hey, 12 eggs is 1.5 pounds, how many pounds does each egg weigh? Well, you would have to divide that 1.5 into 12 parts, right? So it'd be 1.5 divided by 12. In this case, that can be a little bit of a messy problem, so let's just turn it into ounces first, okay? So we have to ask ourselves how many ounces are in a pound. Okay, now if you have your little conversion chart, or maybe you just remember it from the earlier lessons, there are 16 ounces in a pound, okay? So we're gonna have 1.5 times 16, and that will tell us how many total ounces we have. Because now here, unlike the previous problem where we had little containers, cups, being poured into pints and into quarts, right? Now here we have pounds, which are big things, and we're basically saying, okay, now if we break them up into littler things, in this case ounces, how many of those do we have? So we're going to multiply as opposed to dividing, which is what we did last time. All right, so let's see. 6 times 5 is 30, which is going to be 90, 150, which is going to give us 240, if I did my math right, which looks like I did. Now there is 1 decimal point there, so we need to move the decimal spot 1 to the left, right like that. Okay, so our answer is 24. So 1.5 pounds, which is LBS, equals 24 ounces, which is OZ. And I know it can be very confusing having ounces and fluid ounces. Just remember, if you're dealing with weight, you're dealing with ounces. If you're dealing with liquids capacity, then you're dealing with fluid ounces. It's just kind of how it goes. Okay, so our total ounces is 24. We have, but that's for all 12 eggs. We want to know just one egg. Obviously, we're going to now divide, right? Because we need to break that 24 into smaller chunks for each egg. So it's going to be 24 divided by 12, which probably most of you have already guessed is 2 ounces. Okay, so our answer is that each egg weighs 2 ounces. Cool? Cool. All right, let's take a look at number 1. Okay, so this involves someone running after soccer practice. Okay, Scott is running. He runs 4 sprints, and each sprint is 20 yards. And the question asks us, okay, how many practices, how many after practice sprints does he have to do in order to reach 2 miles total? Okay, so first of all, we need to figure out just exactly how many yards is Scott sprinting after every practice, right? So he's doing 4 sprints of 20 yards. So this is pretty easy. So he's doing 80 yards, we'll say per day. It's per practice, but that's okay. Well, let's just say practice. Let's be accurate. All right, so 80 yards per practice or after practice. Okay, now we have to say, all right, well, how many yards does he need to go, right? So we have 2 miles is equal to how many yards? So again, you might have to consult your little chart, but 1,760 yards is equal to 1 mile. So we have to go 2 miles, so we're going to go 1,760 times 2, like that, which is 3,520, I believe. Yep, 3,520 yards for 2 miles. Okay, so that's where we're at here, 3,520. So now we have to just say, okay, how many 80s are there in 3,520? So obviously here again, we're going to be dividing. 3,520 520 divided by 80. And now we're just getting back into long division. So 8 doesn't go into 35. It does go into 350. I'm guessing 4 times, because 4 times 8 is 32. So 4 times 80 is 320. And we'll subtract, which will give us 320. Oh, that works out pretty easily. So 80 goes into 320. We already know 4 times. So our answer is going to be 44 practices. Okay, so 44 practices. So that's number 1. So go ahead and do the rest of them, basically, I think is what the assignment was for this. Number 10, if you haven't already done it, number 10, you only have to do D and E, just like we would normally have done in a classroom. I don't make you guys do those sorts of things. And the homework, looks like you're doing all of them. That does include number 9, which is a writing problem that sometimes I'll let you skip, but not in this case. So there you go. Good luck and have fun. Bye.